Hi everyone, welcome to my first ever knitting podcast. My name is Camilla and I am originally from Brazil, but I live in the northwest of the UK. So since this is my first ever podcast, I am not too sure about what I am doing at all, but I'll just try to roll with it. I've been knitting since 2019 and yes, never stopped since I started. I did have a little bit of a start as a child with my grandmother. She taught me how to do a knit stitch and a garter stitch, and I done a couple of scarves and simple things, but I didn't really start knitting seriously or compulsively as I do nowadays until 2019. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say. I think things will come naturally as I speak. But basically I will try to just keep the usual knitting podcast format where I talk about my finished objects, works in progress, then I'll just talk a little bit about plans and some catch up if I have anything to say at the end. Not much about acquisitions, as I don't tend to acquire a lot of yarn all the time. I do have quite a big hoard from over the years, so I'm trying to work through this amount that I already have. So if there's anything special that I end up getting, then I will definitely share with you guys. But other than that, I think that's it. So, oh yeah, to start with, I'll tell you about what I'm wearing. So this is just a simple self-drafted vest that I made especially to just showcase the yarn, which is Noro Madara in the colorway Sake. I think it's the 01 colorway, and it's literally just a simple v-neck 2x2 cropped sort of vest. I really like it. It does make me think a lot about, kind of reminds me of this brand that I really like called Toast here in the UK. I think it goes very much in the lines of the kind of knitwear that they do, and I do tend to buy some of their stuff secondhand whenever I find it cheap and vintage. So that was kind of what I was trying to emulate with this little vest, and I really like it. It's very comfy. The Noro Madara is a lovely yarn, as you might know or have worked with before. It's just really special the way that the speckles are integrated within the yarn. I just love the kind of like royal blue that they have that shows through. It's my favorite color, I think, from the speckles. And yeah, it's a very interesting yarn. It feels very cottony to me when I worked with, and I think it's just a one ply, and it's kind of thick and thin at times, but that's what gives the whole effect. So yeah, I'll definitely work with it again if I have the chance. It is quite of an expensive yarn, and I also think it's quite hard to come by in this specific colorway. I bought this one from an online shop. There also is a brick and mortar shop from London called My Ivory Room. Valentina is the owner and she's great, and yes, it was really nice to manage to finally get this yarn through a UK website and store. So if you're ever looking for some Noro, definitely check My Ivory Room. I really recommend it. And yeah, I'll start now talking about some finished objects. I'll just talk about the ones I finished in March so far, and yes, and go from there. I do have quite a few things to share, so hopefully this won't be too long. And I'll start with the first one, just 1 second. So my first finished object that I want to talk about is this big boy. This is the Judy Sweater by Grigore Fibers, and it is worked in a garter stitch and lace pattern. I used BC Garn Loch Lomond in the color Sand, and I also used Filcomana alpaca lace that I think it's called Alva in a light grey colorway. So I'll show you close up so you can see kind of the mold effect. So as you can see, the BC Garn yarn is much warmer than the Filcomana. That wasn't intentional. I just, in my head, for the sand when I was purchasing the Filcomana was much grayer than it is. But it worked out fine. I just rolled with it, and you know, it is what it is. I do like the color. Kind of toned down a little bit of the warmth, but it's still quite warm. The only thing with the Loch Lomond in the color Sand that I can say is that you can't really see much the tweed. You can barely see the orange flecks, and I do wish they were more prominent, but other than that, I do really like the pattern. I like the twist rib detail that you have in the collar and all the other ribs. I think it's really nice, and the way you work the stitch is very Moorish, I shall say. You just want to keep going until you get to the lace repeat, and then which is just a yarn over, and then keep going. So this really knit up quickly. I knit that in the same, I think it is the same yarn, the same needle size as suggested, which is a 4mm needle, and I really enjoyed. It just literally dried from the blocking mat, so I can't wait to wear it. It's quite light because Loch Lomond is a woolen spun yarn, and the alpaca just very light. So I think this, I haven't weighted, but feels like it's only like 300 grams or 400 grams max, maybe. No, 300 grams max. It is quite light. I have knitted the first size for this one, as I am quite petite. I'm only 4'11", so yeah, I normally need to use the smallest size, but not always. What else do I have to say about this pattern? I do like Gregoria Fibers patterns. I think they are very well thought out detail wise for things like shoulder pickup, etc. Cuffs. It is quite interesting. Oh yeah, there is one thing that I found that was quite unusual, is that the rate of increases here for the collar were quite short, and then you were suddenly asked to cast on the rest of the stitches to join the two fronts, and that looked really narrow, like almost like this. So I went through Ravelry and I looked around other people's projects, and I noticed that yeah, it is quite short, but in the bigger sizes you went dip it a little bit. And then I found one project which the person also realized the same sort of situation, and she kept increasing for a little bit longer, so I just followed her instructions for that, and I'm really happy because it did feel like it was a little bit too abrupt to end so quickly. So it is quite of a high neck, but not as high as it could have been. Maybe just an issue with the smaller sizes and not as much of an issue for the bigger sizes, but it's something to keep in mind if you decide to knit this jumper. And yes, I really like the yarn. I definitely want to knit more with BC Garn, and I love woolen spun. I think woolen spun is my sweet spot, that thing between like unspun woven to worsted weight. I think woolen spun is where it's at for me. I just love how light and airy it is. And yeah, not much more to say about this one, but as you can see, I can't wait to wear it. I'm just like, it's so squishy. So yeah, that's this one. My second project I finished this month is a bonnet. So this is the bonnet. There you go. I love bonnets. Like, I've been a balaclava person for years, but then when bonnets came to play, I was like, yes, I just I think they're so cute. I love the bowl, and they're very quick to make as well, and very comfy. It's also good because if you're wearing something with a high neck, you don't need to worry about being too much going on here. That is what happens with the balaclava, so I do really enjoy it. Anyway, this bonnet is not a pattern per se. It is a pattern but modified. So this pattern is the Folklore Hood by Yarn and Thread, or Thread and Yarn. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. It's Lorna from the YouTube channel and Instagram. She released this pattern earlier this year and I test knitted for her. And it's a lovely hood balaclava and has some things that other balaclavas lack, which is a very smart position, increases and decreases to really shape on your head, so you don't get that bunch here on your neck or extra weird fabric around. So it's really anatomically correct, if I say so. So I used that pattern as a base, and then the only difference is that I created a few short rows to create this little shape, and I added the I-cord, the double knit ties. This yarn is actually a vintage yarn. I bought a few vintage yarn balls in my charity shop a month ago, and yes, a lot of them were really nice, just like vintage Phildare, vintage Cedar, Wendy, mostly superwash, and then a few that were acrylic. This is actually is this a Phildare? I think this is a Phildare acrylic mainly, but it is so beautiful. Look, it has this tonal sort of color between blue and like reddish brown, and like this little fluff in a lighter blue. And this is 85% acrylic and 15% wool, or 10% wool and then 5% viscose, something along those lines, and it is quite soft, and it's really nice to knit with, actually. It could be much worse, you know what I mean, for acrylic. I don't mind acrylic, I just don't like the feeling that it has on your hands when you knit. But no, I don't mind the final product in general. But yes, this is lovely. The only thing is I only had one ball for this, and I knitted the ties up to, I think you can see, up to here, and then I didn't have it anymore. So I went through my stash, and I have to say I'm quite pleased with myself, and I found these two kind of 4-ply yarns that together, when I marled, I feel like it created almost the same effect. Of course not the same, but colors are quite similar, and from far away I don't think you can really tell. And what I used were from my little advent calendar swap that I done at the end of the year through the Creabea, Rebecca. So I had some host garn, and I think it was 2 host garn colors together, and yeah, it was so good. I mean, I'm so happy that I done the swap, because I do have all these little 10-12 grams balls of yarn, but they're colors that I never used before. Lovely colors as well, so it was really nice to see them, so I know like what to get next. So yeah, I actually really loved the combination, and I thought that would be a really nice jumper to marl together like that. But yeah, this is my finished object. I really enjoy it. I am knitting another bonnet at the moment, which I'll show you in a minute. But all in all, if you want to knit the folklore hood, I really recommend it. And if you want to knit, my thing stopped. I don't know why. Anyway, if you want to knit and modify it into bonnet, is really easy as well. So definitely go check Lona's pattern out. It's very good. And she has, I think, 3 sizes or more, or at least 2. So yeah, definitely worth having a look. And my last fall of the month is this beast, this massive hat. It's not for me, obviously. This is for my husband, and it's a brioche 1x1 with a 4-point crown decrease hat. This is knit with Nutiden. I can't pronounce the color name, something starting with S. I'll write down on the screen or in the description down below, but it's a tangerine sort of orange. It's beautiful, it's like fire, it's so vivid, and it has so much dimension. This hat was a pain in the ass to do because I didn't follow a pattern, and I got the stitch count wrong a couple of times, and then I done it a bit too short for his liking, so you can see a line when I had to pick up. And I'm normally okay picking up brioche, but because of the Nutiden being held double, and it's quite fuzzy, so it's really hard to read the stitch. I end up with a line, but luckily it's just where where the massive brim covers it, so that's okay. It was an experience to knit with Nutiden for the first time, and spun really for the first time. I really like it. I like the way it feels. It feels like sheep, you know what I mean? When you go and you touch sheep and it's dense wool, that's how it feels like, but soft, not scratchy at all. It's really not scratchy. It is not rough, what is the word, like rustic, but not like Icelandic wool where you put next to your skin and it prickles. This one doesn't prickle at all, so I am excited to knit with more of this very soon. It was just more of a project to learn about the yarn, learn how to handle this sort of yarn and so on. Yeah, I'm not sure if I am an unspun person or not yet. You know what I mean? It's quite delicate, and you know, it doesn't hide any sins. Whatever kind of stitch you make, if your tension kind of goes a little bit askew for a stitch or two, it will show. And also the way that you pull the yarn, you can make it thinner by stretching it, so then your stitch will look smaller or bigger. Yeah, as you can see here, some of my decreases, it kind of like has a little few bumps. I don't know. I do like the yarn and I do like the hat. It's a bit of a silly hat, but it was a really good learning experience with a new type of material, and yeah, that is fun. That's what I like to do when I'm knitting, is just learning new things. My hair is crazy, I'm sorry. Okay, so I think I've been through all my finished objects, and I do have loads of finished objects, but they're a little bit older, and then I don't think it's as relevant to what we're talking about. I'm sure you see them with me wearing them in the next podcasts, but I do love talking about them. I just wish I had more people to talk about knitting like 24/7. That would be fun. I do need some knitting friends in my town, so if you are in the northwest, let me know. It would be lovely to go and hang out and just drink some coffee and knit all afternoon. Okay, so let's go to works in progress. I have quite a few to show you because I had an issue of castanitis. I suddenly decided to cast on quite a few things because I was just feeling a little bit bored with stockinette, but surprise surprise, everything that I casted on is stockinette. So go figure. Anyway, I will start by getting the one that is right there nearby, and I'll show you what it is, but it won't be any surprise because you're already seeing something very similar just 5 minutes ago. So this is the start of another bonnet, also using that vintage yarn, which is the Rafales, and this kind of warm caramel color with white and then blue-green flecks and kind of like orangey, oh, speaking up on my face, orangey red flecks. It's beautiful, and when you knit up, it's so lovely. I really like it. So this one is a little bit different. I'm trying to create my own pattern for a bonnet. So I had to, although I think Lona's pattern is perfect for a bonnet, I had to work really hard to try to figure out my version, because I do want to knit them and kind of maybe get them commissioned. So kind of like this. So yes, I'm trying to kind of do my own thing with that, so I can get started on them, even though now it's getting warmer. Some people might not want bonnets, but it's a fun sort of project. And yeah, it's just a little bit of a start. I kind of redone it like 2 or 3 times already, but we'll get there. I love the color, like I said. This one I hope to have a double knitted edge instead of a ribbon, and then double knitted edge at the sides that becomes the ties. And I probably will do that with a contrast yarn. So as I only have 1 ball of this as well, it won't be enough. But yeah, I'll show you next time how it's looking like. Hopefully it works out. If not, I'll just give up this idea and knit another folklore hood hack into a bonnet. Yeah, this yarn is fun. You can find it on eBay if you like. I think, not sure if they have the Rafales itself, but that is the name. And I do recommend, if you don't mind acrylic, it feels really nice. And I do love a vintage yarn. I think they are a lot of fun. Vintage mohair I tried, and it's too prickly, but kind of like vintage wools and things like that, like Aran wool. It's really nice. It's quite fun to knit with them. So that is that for this little guy that looks like an eclair right now. And I'll get my other projects. Gosh, I really need a cup of tea or some water. That's why people always have tea and coffee with them, because oh god, my throat is killing me. Okay, so this looks a little bit wild at the moment. This is the beginnings of a modified vest number 1 by my favorite things knitwear. I had this pattern for many years and I haven't knitted it, but my husband requested me to knit him a body warmer, so that is what I decided to do for him. So the modification is, as you can see, that instead of being just a normal round neck vest, I opened it and it's going to have buttons in the front, so it's going to be a button vest, still with a round neck. And one of the main things that I'm excited about is the details, so I'm going to copy my favorite things knitwear newest design, which is cardigan number 9. It has a lovely ribbed collar. The detail, just before you start the 1x1 rib, there is a couple of double knit stitches, and then the 1x1 rib. I'll put a picture so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm doing that, and then I'll just be doing a normal 1x1 rib button band, And I'm also using toggles like in her cardigan, so will be kind of like a cardigan number 9 meets vest number 1 sort of thing. And I'm excited for it because I think you wear it loads in our allotment, and I will be able to wear it too as an oversized vest. The fabric is lovely, it's so soft and dense. This is what I'm using. It doesn't look like much. This was Drops Nepal in Walnut. I've knitted a oversized season's cardigan by Osetta years ago, and was my first ever cardigan, and I think I was off gauge and it didn't look good, so I unraveled, and I had this yarn for a couple of years just caked up like this, waiting for me to do something. So I finally decided to use it for my husband's vest, a kind of body warmer. And then I also had this that I bought and never used. It's just Drops Kidsilk in color 35, which is a perfect match. It is a little bit warmer than Walnut, but when you put them together, honestly you can't see the cord or anything in here. It's quite similar. It's a really good match. Drops Nepal does peel a lot, but I think with the Kidsilk it will help. I don't mind. I think Nepal is a great yarn for me. I don't know if I am a loose knitter, but I think I am a little bit more of a loose knitter than, definitely not a tight knitter. My gauge is, sometimes I do need to size down needles, so I do enjoy an errant weight yarn when I want to do something quicker, because yeah, suppose because I am a loose knitter, so I do use it a lot, especially when I'm doing larger things for my husband. There are many more stitches to go through, so most of the things I've done for him, funnily enough, have been Drops Nepal. And yeah, the material is lovely. It feels quite similar to what I just have knitted last month, which is Guipard Woolia and Guipard Kidsilk. I done a Busan sweater with that combination that feels like butter, like cashmere. But this is not far off. I don't know how it's going to wear, but so far this yarn has been washed, has been worn, and now it's caked up. So I'm picking up a few fluff bits that comes through, but I feel like maybe already kind of done all its fluffing and peeling, and it won't be as bad now in this garment. I am really excited for it. I think because of the modification, I'm quite obsessed with it at the moment. I want to see where it's heading. I want to see how the button band will work out. So for now, in the last 2 days, this is like the main thing I've been knitting on, and it's a bit crazy because I haven't joined the back parts together, but I think I'll probably join the front and the back tonight, and then it's just stockinette for a while, and then button band and the collar, which I'm so excited for. I really hope it works. So I have my little project bag. This is actually a knitting project bag from Søstrene. I think that's how you say Søstrene. Yeah, it's lovely. It's kind of like the petite knit ones. That is a little bit quilted, but a fraction of the price. So it's a tip if you want a nice project bag. I have this crazy guy here with me right now. So this is the Dad's sweater by Gently Chaotic Knits, and I'm knitting the size 2 in this bright red color, which is lovely. It's a little bit more pink, like still very red, but like not an orange red. It's more of like a pink red in real life. And this is, yeah, the camera is blowing up a little bit. It's kind of more like that, a little bit darker. Yeah, so this is Woolyknit is a cone I bought a few years ago and I'm finally using up. I don't know what red it would be. It used to be the only red that they had. And this is the British wool cone. So I'm holding this double for a decay. And I'm knitting this on 4mm, which I think is the recommended needle as well. Not too sure. My camera stopped recording again. Also apologies if I keep looking at the viewfinder. It's just getting used to it. It's so weird. I'm trying to look at the lens. But anyway, what I was saying is that this is the color red by Woolyknit. Not sure which red it would be nowadays, but I can try to find out and link below. Holding it double on 4mm. And I started this at the same time that I started the Judy Sweater back in February. But then I just couldn't stop knitting the Judy Sweater, so this one was left behind. And then I picked up, done the collar and started the sleeve. I just wanted a really basic, nice, kind of slouchy, almost sweatshirt-esque kind of workhorse jumper. Something that I would wear all the time, like lounging around the house, nothing fancy. So that's what I'm doing with this. I have to say that this yarn, it's very flat. It does bloom beautifully once you wash it, and that's when it really shines. But to knit, I do love a yarn that is quite bouncy. I think it's a nicer knitting experience for me when you have that bounce. This one is like you know what I mean. So yeah, some people might prefer that and that would be nicer, but this is such good price for what you get, for the quality as well. And I love that it's very soft, but you still feel that kind of toughness. It's very toothy, and I do love toothy yarn as well. So, you know, you gotta pick your battles. Sometimes you gotta go for the flat, toothy, like proper sheepy wool yarn. Sometimes you gotta go for the nice, soft, bouncy merino, you know. I don't know what much to say about this. So far her instructions have been really easy. It's a good pattern, loads of sizes, loads of guidance if you have any issues with gauge, if you have an issue, if you want to modify, you know, that is such a good thing when you see in a pattern. There is 3 versions of the pattern, 2 versions, the broad shoulder, the standard shoulder, and then the modifying hacks. And I think that's amazing that you can get all of that in one pattern. It's, you know, it's a lot of work that goes through it, and I really love it. One thing is that my short rolls look a little bit messy when I picked up the sleeve. I don't know if you can see. So hard. Can you see? It's like, I don't like it. And I picked up again and tried, but I think the main issue that I realized is that because there's only 1 stitch before you increase when you're doing the under the arm shaping, it's like when you pick up near a stitch there is an increased stitch, it just creates a little line. And maybe I would suggest, if you have the same issue that I have, just add another stitch. So instead of picking up after 1 stitch, increasing after 1 stitch, you can increase after 2, so you create that 1 stitch kind of border edge where the pickup might be a little bit cleaner. And it's the same everywhere, like if you're picking up for the collar here. I understand that this pattern is supposed to be like very simple, a staple where you pick up things and there's no bells and whistles. It's just like a really good standard perfect dad sweater shape pattern. It is something that I realized and I learned from this pattern, is that I do like when you have a few kind of edge stitches to create a nice border and shape, which is actually another modification I've done for the vest number 1, was that I added 3 edge stitches at the side when I was doing the collar. Just so, like, similarly to this, I don't know if you can see, it's quite like, I just really like this kind of finishing. So that's what I also added to that one and modified. Yeah, something to keep in mind. In general, I do like coming, like, kind of like coming across those situations where I don't necessarily love something, not necessarily because of the pattern itself, but also because matching with my skills, it kind of like doesn't really completely work. I don't know, but it does kind of makes me learn things that I do like. So yeah, if you do have issues as well with pickups, especially if you have to do short rows, adding extra edge stitches might help out. I don't know, I haven't tried yet, but it's something that I think it would help for sure. Other than that, can't wait to finish this sleeve, start the other one, do the body, and have a lovely little red sweater, red jumper to wear in the spring. I think will be really cute, and I don't have anything full red at the moment that I knitted myself, so I'm excited for it. I love red. I think this is my last work in progress. I don't even know why I casted on this. I mean, it's been on my list to do for freaking ages and I'm just like, it's too boring. But I finally done it, and there's not much more because I done it for like 2 days, 1 day, and lost interest. But I'll go back to it again when I want to knit some fluff. This is it. Oh god, that is not really much at all, is it? There you go. Oh, did I drop a stitch? No, just got that. Can you see? Okay, so this is the No Frills Sweater by Petite Knit, another pattern that's been with me for many years and I haven't started. Then I finally decided to use this yarn I had in stash. This is Drops Lima or Drops Flora. I think it's Drops Flora. Or is it Lima? Oh, I don't know. I think it's Flora, and Drops Kidsilk mohair again. I bought this when they were on sale, I don't know, 2 years ago, a year ago, maybe a year ago, to knit a lentil. And then I never did, and then I was like, something about the loose gauge of the lentil that always makes me like not want to knit it, because I don't like the look of loose stitches sometimes. I don't know. I do like when they are like extremely big and that's it. But kind of like in an in-between sort of stitch, I don't know. Maybe I do like them and I'm just being a weirdo. I don't know. I decided to go for the No Frills Sweater instead, which is a much smaller gauge, but I do have enough yarn for it. I did size down one needle size. Instead of using the 4mm, I'm using a 3.75, but I did hit gauge, so yeah, I think I'm knitting the second size on this one as well. I done a little modification, which is that I decided to not knit the collar and the ribbing first and just go straight into the jumper and then pick up the stitches and knit it later. The reason is because I tried to do the tubular cast on method, which it works, but when you do the cast on method it is quite loose, so it wasn't actually cinching in as much as I wanted. But I also didn't want to do a long tail cast on for it. I wanted to have the kind of Italian bind off, tubular bind off, like sort of finish edge. So then I just decided to cast on normal, then knit the collar, the ribbing afterwards, and then do the tubular cast off, and that should give me exactly what I was looking for, which is the tubular look with the structure of the cast off, so it's not going to stretch out too much, because that's something that I noticed in the pattern pictures and the other pictures, is that it does kind of open up a little bit, which I don't mind. I don't want it to be such like a close collar, as most of my jumpers are quite close high. I do like a kind of a small collar, but I don't want it to be too big, so that's what I done. This combination is lovely. This is basically like drops Nepal but 4-ply. So it is 65% wool and 35% alpaca. That's why it does feel a little bit, but such soft yarn, can beat the price. I am a Drops fan. I mean, I know that ideally Drops is not the best brand to buy from, but you know, goes in a budget. I do have some really nice fancy yarn as well, but I'm always almost scared to use it. Like, do you ever feel that when you have something special, you don't want to knit with it because you feel like you're not worthy of that yarn, or you're not gonna be able to make a project that really highlights such special yarn? I felt like this, for example, when I knitted this Noro, and then after I knitted it, because I knitted top down, I realized that I'd done the arms like too big, so I had to kind of like pick up and fold these extra bits. But part of me was like, oh, I can't believe I done this, and then, you know, if I unravel this yarn, it kind of like compromises the whole thing about Noro because it's a 1-ply, and you know, what a waste. So it's something I'm trying to work on, as not caring so much about the special yarn, which is why I done my husband the Nutiden hat. Because yeah, things do go wrong, and then sometimes you unravel them and they don't look perfect. But if I just keep my special yarn and never use it, what is the point? So yeah, I'm trying to work on that part of my yarn and really, you know, feel like I am worthy of using the special yarn I saved up to buy. But at the same time, I do like my budget yarn because I feel like I can be more carefree with what I make with them. If I make a mistake or something like that, it's not such a big deal to unravel and then knit again and unravel and knit again. Hope that makes sense. Went on a little bit of a tangent there, but let me know if you feel the same, like when you're trying to knit something with special yarn, if you're a little bit like afraid of using it, or am I just insane? Could be me. Okay, talking about special yarn, I want to talk to you about some of my future plans. So what is next in my sea of whips, what I want to do very soon. I do have in my Ravelry page, you can see my queue, but in general there are some plans that are very close to get started with. And I'll show you now one of my ideas, and you can help me, let me know if that would work or not. Like I said before, I do have some special yarn. So this is more Nutiden. I think this color is called either Hag or Hog. It's H-A with a little O on the top, G, and I have a lot of it. I think it's called Hog. I don't know. This is it. I love green, but more than green itself, I love chartreuse. So like between green and mustard, and this kind of like, it is a little bit more yellow in real life, like to the brown. But I'm so excited for this. I really want to make something for me. It smells nice. I have 3 pattern ideas that I am kind of juggling in between. One of the ideas is to knit another Sakuri cardigan by Noriko Ichikawa. I test knitted for her the Sakuri cardigan and it was my favorite test knit ever. I loved it and it's such a beautiful pattern. So I thought knitting another one in this color would be lovely. So this is the first idea. The second one is the Levitate wrap by My Favorite Things Knitwear, which some people did knit with Nutiden and it looks really nice. And then the third pattern idea, let me just check on my phone. Moineer by Obiona McLaughlin. Sorry, Obiona. But you know, she's an amazing knitwear designer, and this was also, she did do a version which has a green Nutiden and a red one, and it's a beautiful color work project. So I have these 3 pattern ideas and I'm not sure what to do with it. I have these drops that I thought I could kind of match, but I need to swatch to see, because I am worried about knitting this on its own and just peeling loads, because I know it does. But I don't have the right green for it. I might swatch and see if it detracts too much. This is such a hard green to find a match for. Yeah, because it's so special. So this is one of my plans, is to knit with this guy. I have 500 grams, so it is plenty to knit something and have leftovers to make more hats, then why not? Part of me wants to knit Albiona's one because I think it's so special, and I already have a green sort of color to go with. I do have the orange, but I'm not too sure if it would work. Let's get Paul's hat. I suppose it could work. As that jumper. I mean, I showed you the picture here on the screen, so you can let me know if the contrast would work. I might just have to do some swatches and see what works for this, but it is so nice and beautiful. This was a present, a Christmas present from my husband. He paid for half of it and I paid for the other half. And then he gave me more yarn for Christmas. I am very lucky. He's a lovely person, and I am glad that I have all of these fun things to work with through the rest of the year, since I am in a bit of a yarn ban and need to save up. So I'm glad I have a fun stash to work from. My next project, I got my little bag here to show you guys. Oh, there you go. It's something that I will be casting on as soon as possible. Again with Drops Nepal, like sue me. I feel like Drops Nepal should sponsor me. I just have loads that I bought like years ago, and especially when I was buying things to make presents, it's always a yarn that I go to because, like I said, it's iron weight, it's cheap, it feels nice, it's good for people that are sensitive to wool, I find. So I always use that for gifts as well, like it works really well. But I do have this, like 6 balls of this, is color 206, it's like a light beige. And my plan is to knit a stripe overload polo by Spectacle Strick. I knitted that before years ago, a yellow and brown version, and I want to do now like a beigey and light blue version. Sorry, my battery ran out, so I had to get a new one. I was talking about the striped overload polo, yes. And I had to buy a light blue color of Nepal to go with this. The reason I went with Nepal is because I already had the quantity I needed for this kind of color. So I kind of, you know, go away from my yarn ban and got another 6 balls of this and the mohair to go with in a light blue. So the idea is to stripe this with light blue, and I have these 2 colors of mohair. I think on the screen this does look like maybe a better match than this Filcomana one. I'll have to see. I do have more of this one than I have of this. I only have 2 balls of this, so I might be playing yarn chicken if I go with this one. So maybe I just go for this. We'll see. But I'm so excited. I absolutely love that pattern. I love Spectacle Strick's designs. Knitted quite a few things from her. And she's a lovely person. Really want her book. I am debating in getting the Danish book and just translating for it, but hopefully I keep bothering her saying to like, please translate it in English. Get a British publisher, because I just love it. Anyway, gonna knit that again, and will be a kind of like spring version with light blue and kind of beigey color. Who knows? I'm really excited for it. I think it's a lovely day-to-day piece. I wear mine all the time, and I would love to revisit, because I knitted that one. I still remember, did I cast on either on Christmas night or New Year's Eve of 2021 to 2022, and then I finished around February 2022. I remember because I was starting my old job back then, and then I participated in Mi's knit along for the Stripe Overload polo, and I actually won. Best day of my life, so that was really nice. Yeah, so it's kind of like a really important pattern and jumper in my life, and I would love to revisit now that I know how to do short rows a little bit better. I mean, as you're seeing in my dad's sweater, it's looking a bit of a mess, but that one was my first jumper that I ever done with short rows, so I think it's fun to revisit a pattern when things don't look so alien to you anymore. So I'm excited for that. And I think there are lots of other plans with my stash yarn that I want to do. Like, I can kind of allocate projects for every kind of yarn quantity that I have if I want to, but I'll leave it there, because otherwise I'll be speaking all day, and I can tell that my throat is hurting and my voice starting to get a bit more crooked than usual, and I'm just rambling. Well, I hope you enjoyed this first knitting podcast, an unnamed knitting podcast for now, and yeah, thank you so much for watching and being with me. Let me know if you have any sort of advice, or if you like what I talked about. Let me know what you're knitting, what are your projects. Like I said, if you do have a special yarn that you're afraid to use it for a project, let me know. We can just I don't know, encourage each other to just use our special yarn and have fun with it. And hopefully I'll see you in the next month with some progress in my whips and a few more new whips, who knows. Enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, hope you all stay well and healthy, and speak soon. Bye.